challenge. And I'm glad that in many cases, these wonderful young people find that the next challenge is in the Negev and in the Galilee. So I think that what we can say here, it's, I think, to sum up the components we are talking about, once again, first of all, legally reclaiming pieces of land that are today illegally occupied. We are talking about human resources of those who would be able to come and start new communities. We are talking about serious government plans. I, tongue-in-cheek, already noticed that some of these plans are not exactly very much to my liking, but if we are talking about government plans, they should definitely include some kind of proper arrangements for the Bedouin population, in this case in the Negev, and you know, to be really attractive to people so that they would be able to move and start a new village, a new life, new community. At the same time, obviously, if the approach would always be just, you know, once again, I don't want to use the word appeasement, but it will just be raising the stakes all the time and offering more and more. I think that in the Middle Eastern idea of how to run negotiations, we will still be here in 10 and 20 years from now discussing the situation in the Negev without too much progress. So the combination of a stick and the carrot in this case, on one hand, having offers, not just throwing people out, and at the same time not to, as I've said, just to go on and on with different negotiations without having any red lines or deadlines. I think this would be proper policy. In terms of the positive news, I can say that this government, this coalition, actually, this Knesset passed legislation long due. I mean, even I'm ashamed to say that there was attention towards this legislation and an argument, but the legislation, I mean, of Chok HaAmutot, a certain amendment to Chok HaAmutot that defined the activities of settling the land of Israel as activities that could be and should be tax deductible. And as I've said, you know, thank you. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what? I think that this lonely applause is very positive in this field, because I don't really think that we should be applauding this kind of legislation, because it's so logical, it's so obvious, and at the same time, unfortunately, there were voices saying how terrible this legislation is and how it discriminates and how it will fall in courts, by the way, and it won't stand the first court session and so on and so forth. And thank God nothing happened. So from now on, at least those who support Regavim and other, by the way, movements, I'm not at a fundraiser, so definitely there are several groups of wonderful people who are promoting this case of Negev and Galilee, and I think that they would and should be supported from now on. They can legally be supported by the government without playing any games with the government and expressing that they are in the business of social justice or education or whatever. They can hands-on and on the table, so to say, present the activities, and the same goes to private support of these groups, of these movements. The last but never least here, I think that I would mention that in terms of my portfolio, in terms of Israeli Asbara, Israeli public diplomacy, I wouldn't hide from you that I was already several times facing questions on the issue of the Negev, on the issue of Bedouin villages in the Negev, and I don't have a one-liner, because when the questions were, you know, full of chutzpah, so to say, in the Israeli way, I in most cases just ignore them. One example I could give you, that there was a a certain foundation in the United States, obviously all Jewish foundation, that is very much in the line, in the business of helping develop different Arab communities in this country, which I definitely respect, and I offered them cooperation. And because my ministry, among other things, does projects of coexistence, especially with youth, I, at least for a year, was trying to suggest different projects, that we do things together with government money and private funds in order to improve the Israeli society, in order to teach youth, kids, not to hate each other, but rather do things together, especially in cities with mixed population. Though I know some of these people personally for many years, I never got a response. Finally, I got a mail from them. Surprise, surprise, I was already waiting, opening the mail, I was waiting for some kind of a protocol of the Board of Governors of the foundation announcing that they allocated $10 million as matching funds for the activities of the ministry in case the ministry matches them with significant funds. Instead of that, the mail said that they want my immediate explanation on evacuation of several families in the Negev on the claim, or because of the claim that they illegally settled at private land and whatever. So I'm usually, I promise you, I'm usually very diplomatic and politically correct in my answers. In this case, I just wrote them back that I think that the evacuation happened because the settlement was illegal, full stop. And then the next sentence I said that if they want to contact me ever again, it should only be on really improving Jewish-Arab relations in this country and not on the activities of the Israeli police. But but on a more serious note, and I think that here is still another challenge for all of us. Because I said that the activities are very important, I think that we all very much have to stay on the message here, with the message being of the creating and innovating and developing the Negev according to the dreams of the founding fathers and of Ben-Gurion in particular, and not some, negative messages towards certain things happening there. I will just tell you first person singular, it helps a lot. It helps a lot, and we don't have anything to hide, and we don't have anything to be ashamed of. We just have to stay on the positive message, and I think for everyone who comes and sees with his or her own eyes the wonderful young people, the wonderful young couples, families with children coming, in this case to the Negev, starting new life there, developing themselves, their community and everything around them, I think it's such a positive story for us to present. It will be, as we say in this Hebrewish, it will be a chaval, it will be really a pity to mix it with all kinds of things and go into a never-ending dialogue of who is a bad guy and who is a good guy. We have a lot of positive things to talk about. So once again, I think I want to compliment you on having this evening, having this event. We have ongoing relationship with Regavim, my ministry, and I'm sure many others in the Knesset and in the government. And I sincerely hope that there will be, how shall we put it, there will be less need in the near future to talk about these issues to the Ministry of Public Diplomacy or even Ministry of Interior or Police or whatever, but rather to the Ministry of Housing and Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Agriculture, because things will be moving forward in the same positive way I was just talking about. Thank you very much. And I will just have, that's not my usual pattern of behavior, but I'll have to apologize because for those of you who remember all the titles, I'm Minister of Public Diplomacy, that's why I'm here, and of Diaspora Affairs. That's why I have to proceed to a very nice thing called Sukkot Olami Festival in Netanya, where we're trying to present real life in the diaspora to the Israeli public. Yesterday we had about 25,000 Israelis visiting the communities from all over the world represented in their Sukkot, and tonight I have to be there in an hour and a half from now, so I'll leave you, and I apologize to the next speakers and next participants that I won't be listening to them, but I'll get all the materials from the organizers. Thank you very much.